Hey everybody, it is Caleb with Almond Landscape. Brittany and I are going to be speaking at Launchpreneur Live in Novi, Michigan on November 13th. Our speakers that are with us, Paver Pete, Brian Fullerton, of course, Jeff Joyner, Greg Whitstock, Corey Ballard, and the one and only Keith Kalfas, of course. Fantastic value for the ticket price. It's nothing but the epitome of value. Plus, myself, as a guy that likes to eat, they feed you pretty darn well at this thing too. So we really look forward to seeing you at Launchpreneur Academy. Live event, it's going to be fantastic. Again, November 13th, Novi, Michigan. We will see you folks there.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, and good morning to all of you guys. All right, well, I'm in a cheerful, upbeat mood. We are actually having a pretty fun day. We're actually recording this podcast real time. It is the Tuesday evening before you guys are hopefully listening to the show Wednesday morning. So we actually just got back from the 2021 MGIA Lawn and Landscape Snow Show that was over here in Novi, Michigan, and it was a really, really fun time. I actually learned quite a bit, went to a couple different seminars, got to see the trade show, obviously, with all the latest and greatest from the snow industry, and frankly, it was just a really, really good time. We actually I took the day off to go to the show. Rob actually went out there to mow grass. He was out there until about noon, 1, 2, and then the rain started to move in. And I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but it's coming down pretty hard over here. And I think we actually might lose tomorrow, aka today, Wednesday, with an all-day rain out, which is not going to be fun because Thursday and Friday we're going to have to play some crazy catch-up. Well, on today's topic, I wanted to just kind of hang out with you guys here on a short and sweet episode, right? Some of you guys were giving me some gruff on Instagram and tagging me with sharing the last podcast, which was the previous episode, talking about being intentionally uncomfortable, which I thought was a pretty banger podcast episode. Maybe you didn't have a chance to check that one out. Please go back and listen to that. Maybe even re-listen to it. I had a bunch of you guys tag and share it on Instagram and just said it was a banger. And so thank you. A lot of those episodes, you know, we just rip it from the frame and just try to help you guys out, give you some fire, give you some motivation, and just try to give you guys some encouragement as you guys head into the work week. Well, on today's episode, I wanted to talk about just circumstances, becoming a better person, and frankly, I wanted to talk about being a trustworthy person or somebody that can be entrusted to with, blessing, somebody that can be entrusted with increase. Okay. It's going to be a fun episode. I really sincerely want to do just a short and sweet episode here. I just kind of poured it all out there on Monday. I'm thinking about some different topics, and I was actually brainstorming with Liz upstairs, and she's watching the baby and playing, blocking and tackling while I'm over here doing the podcast. And I was up there and I'm like, I had actually just literally, she got home, I got home from the show, I edited a YouTube video, and we just start catching up. How's your day? And, all this stuff. And so she went to the doctor and a little checkup for her after the pregnancy and all that stuff. So she got all clear, good bill of health. So that's good. And, I was like, yeah, well, this, and this, and talking about some other things. And then I don't know if you guys ever get on a rant or get on you just get fired up. You just start talking to your wife about something. And I'm like, well, this, and this, and then this person, this, and this person, that. And basically it was a conversation about money and finances and just how people look at money, how some people don't look at money. And I was getting all fired up and I'm like, the parable of the talents and this, and this. And she's like, okay. And she's like, what's your point? I'm like, I don't know. But I'm just fired up and this, and this. And so anyway, we've seen some interesting observations about money, just in our family, just in people in general. And, money is a super touchy topic and a super divisive, potentially, topic, especially in a lot of families with different philosophies or approaches or attitudes about money. So here's what I want to do, just short and sweet. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about doubling down on what we talked about Monday and then how it can kind of relate to being a person that can be entrusted to with increased blessings and promotion. All right. Does that sound fair? So we'll shoot it short and sweet, super simple, kind of a podcast and episode. And I think it'll be a pretty good one here. I wrote down just 1 or 2 quick notes. And then from there, kind of let the Holy Spirit take over and we'll see where it goes. Amen. Which you're still allowed to talk about that, God, Jesus, all that kind of stuff. Fullerton Unfiltered. We believe what we believe, you believe what you believe, and we're unapologetic. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors, show announcements, and then we're going to come right on back here in just a quick minute talking to you guys about being an entrusted person, somebody that can be blessed to be a blessing, and what that looks like, and what it looks like, in my opinion. And we're going to have some biblical truth that's going to be presented to you guys in the most non-preachy way, but I think you guys will really enjoy this. All right, let's check it out.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with hydro drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low-interest financing up to 4 years.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump right back into it. Here's what I wanted to talk about was, being a entrusted person, somebody that people can trust, somebody that can be promoted, can be blessed, and talk about financial increase, right? So when I was upstairs talking to Liz, I said, it's just interesting to me how some people manage money, like how some people, it just seems like no matter how much they make, how much they get, they don't grow mentally. They don't know how to work with that kind of money. They don't know what to do with the money. They don't know what to do with the increase, right? And frankly, let's just be honest. I didn't either. I didn't know for a decade, 10, 12, 13 years. Last few years as we make more money, we learn how to manage more money, right? And, as we get increased, we learn how to manage that increase. As we get blessed, we learn how to manage that blessing. In fact, as we get blessed, we decide intentionally to be a blessing, right? So we're a conduit. So it just flows. I actually heard a guy say once, if you hold your hand out and somebody puts a $20 bill in your hand and you clench it, and then somebody else tries to take that money from you, right? They're not going to be able to take your $20, right? You got your hand clenched on it. But if you put your $20 bill on top of that closed, clenched hand, that $20 bill, that extra $20 bill is just going to blow in the wind, and just kind of fall off your hand. So although you didn't lose that first 20, you weren't able to accept that next 20. And I heard this guy do this presentation, and he opened up his hand and he said, now, if I had that $20 in my hand, what could happen? The wind could blow and take the first 20. Somebody could actually take that 20 out of my hand, or another 20 could actually fall into my hand, and now I have 40. But with an open hand, I'm able to take that increase. I'm able to receive that blessing, right? I'm not clenching my hand on that $20 bill versus somebody who keeps an open palm and can let money flow in, flow out, flow in, and flow out. You know what? I heard that, probably a decade ago, and it just really stuck with me. It really stuck with me to be a giver, to be generous. And, in the Bible, it talks about the left hand doesn't need to know what the right hand's doing. And, that's not where I want to go with this whole conversation. So bear with me here. About like what we do or what you guys do, right? If you're blessing people, that's awesome. Let's, leave that on the sideline right now. What I wanted to talk about was people being somebody that can be entrusted to with increase and with money. And actually, I just want to do this really quick. I looked up and I know it, but I'd rather, just read it up right here. I got the NIV version of the parable of the sower, right? The NIV says the parable of the bags of gold. Maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't. And I'm not going to come at you with a super, preachy, kind of a conversation here, but let's just read this together. This is actually really good stuff. I mean, I heard this way before I became a Christian, way before I ever went to church. And I was like, dude, that's a good story. Like, that just sounds That just sounds like it makes sense. Like in your heart of hearts, in your spirit. Like, even if you're not a believer, you're just like, you know what? That makes some sense. Let me just read this really quick because I think this can really help me play off of this, okay? It says, again, it would be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received the 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. But the one man who had received the 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. So he invested it. He did something productive with it. He grew it. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things, and I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. So guy went on a business trip. He went to war. I don't know. I'm not a Bible scholar, okay? He went on a trip. He came back. He had some money, gave it to a couple people, entrusted it with them. And so first guy took 5 gold, whatever's talents, and doubled it to 10. Okay, for all my non-Christian people, because I had to really slow down. I'm like, what does this mean? They, thou, thee, all these different words. All right. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrust me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. The man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So meaning the guy stuck his head in the sand, didn't do anything with it, and at least put it with the bankers or you're going to earn interest. So take that bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has been given more, they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right. Let's slow down here for just a quick minute. Number 1, I'm not a pastor, a minister, a preacher, okay? Number 2, I'm a Christian, but I'm a flawed man. I'm still learning every single day, just like a lot of you guys, okay? But when I hear stuff, okay, I like to slow down, think about what I'm thinking about. What does this mean? What is this saying? I love stories like this. And so here's just a really simple deal. Over the last couple years, you guys have been working hard. You guys have been prudent. You guys have been diligent, some more than others, right? Myself included. Some people have been more prudent with their health and fitness. Some people have been more prudent with their mindset and their attitude, right? Some people have been more prudent with their finances. They're more diligent. They're more on a budget. They're conservative. They don't blow money. They don't spend in excess of what they bring in, so on and so forth, right? And this story, the parable of the talents, is basically saying the guy who had 5 that I entrusted him with, he grew it to 10. The guy with, 2 or whatever, he grew it to 4. The guy with 1, he stuck his head in the sand and buried it and didn't do anything with it, okay? So God, when he came back, doubled everybody's, investment or what he gave them. And the other guy, he stripped him of it and gave it to the guy with 10. So here's what I'm thinking to myself. Like, I'm reading the story, and I didn't hear this from anybody. I'm just kind of shooting it from the hip here. But here's what I'm thinking. Man, the guy who had the 5, I'm wondering, like, how prepared he was for this event, how prepared he was for this opportunity to be bestowed upon him, to be entrusted with him. Look, I've never heard anybody preach about this way, but I'm just thinking out loud because I was on a rant upstairs with my wife, and I said, it's so weird. We're talking about finances in my family and some different things that was going on. And I'm like, isn't it weird that some people don't know what they're doing with money? They literally bury their head in the sand and they make no progress. Other people, they take, the 2 and they double it to 4 or whatever. And other people take the 5 and they double it to 10. And I'm like, there's a lot of preparation there. There's a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of prudence. There's a lot of reading, listening, studying, educating that had to go into the guy that had the 5, or the master entrusted him with the 5, right? The master didn't just give it willy-nilly, right? It was almost like a test. It was almost like, and if it's if we're reading what we're reading, like this is kind of probably planned out to a degree, or it seems like very fateful. So this guy with the 5, I'm wondering, well, what was he doing in his spare time? What was he doing to work on this? What was he doing to be able to learn and to know, right? To know when this opportunity arises. When they say success occurs when opportunity and preparedness meet. Well, this guy had to be prepared for when this opportunity came and presented itself to him to be successful, to create success. That's my whole point. What did the guy do that had the 5 talents, bags of gold, whatever, entrusted to him? What was that guy doing in his spare time? his nights and weekends? Was he reading self-help books? I don't know if that was a thing back, back in the time, whenever this was written. I'm not a Bible scholar. What was the guy doing? Was he learning business? Was he learning simple stuff? Was he, going to Launchpreneur Academy Live? Little plug there. I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying though. Was this guy learning? Was this guy being prudent? Was he educating and being intentional with what he was doing and who he was becoming and learning how to manage things? So when that opportunity arose, the 5 that he had, he goes, you know what? I know what to do with it. I'm going to go double this, or I'm going to go invest it. Maybe he knew he was going to get a double. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he knew he was going to take the 5 and double it to 10. Maybe he knew he was going to take the 5 and turn it to 7, right? With some interest and whatever the guy was clearly investing into or building, right? But that guy, here's the big takeaway. That guy, and I'm not trying to stretch anything here. I'm just saying he had to have been prepared, right, before this opportunity presented it to himself. And I've heard hundreds of sermons. I've heard 20 sermons on this exact passage or whatever, right, in the Bible. I've never heard anybody say it this way. So I feel like it's a little bit more inspired now. Here we go. But I feel like that guy had to prepare himself. And so I'm upstairs ranting to my wife, and I'm like, you know what? This family member, right? Like this other family member is better. And then Liz and I'm like, dude, we have been prudent. We have been diligent. We spend less of what we're making than maybe other people in our family. Okay, we're very, very conservative. I know maybe sometimes it doesn't look like it because I rent a stupid helicopter for $1,000, when we go on a trip to like Florida or to see the fall color tour up north. But like, I promise you, we're living very below our means. We really do. We really, really do. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, which one of these people am I? Am I the one guy that stuck his head in the sand, buried his talent, buried his bag of gold, was afraid, right? I was afraid of circumstances. I was afraid of my own shadow. I was afraid of business. The guy didn't try. He didn't even like try and lose the money, right? He didn't even like put any effort in there. He didn't like put it all in black at least, He just literally master leaves. Guy says, I'm going to take this gold and I'm going to stick it in the sand. I'm going to bury it. Guy didn't even try. How prepared was that guy? How much time did that guy spend preparing himself? None. And then what was the last line here? This doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound like having fun eating a hot dog at GIE Plus Expo, right? It says, and throw that worthless servant aside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Like, I don't know the last time anybody like gnashed teeth listening to this episode, other than maybe getting punched in the face, but getting like gnashing of teeth, when you hear that in the Bible, probably not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? There's only a couple times he talks about that I, know about. And it's never in a pleasant, upbeat scenario or circumstance, right? Think about it, right? You guys are growing your businesses. Who are you becoming? What are you guys listening to? What are you guys reading? Are you being prudent? Are you being diligent? When you get an increase, are you just, oh man, that's my increase in my surplus to go spend money on stupid stuff? Maybe you might be the guy that gets the 2 talents and you double it to 4 based on the reward system of this planet and some of these principles and laws that might be out there. And so you get 2 to 4, and then somebody else is out there preparing themselves even more harder, better. They're paying more dues. They're doing whatever. They're learning, they're reading, they're studying, they're praying. And somebody takes their 5 and they get to double it to 10. If you're the 2 guy that doubles to 4, don't be mad at the guy who gets 5 and doubles it to 10. Okay, just at least be honest with me. At least be honest with yourself, right? That you don't want to pay those same dues, right? That's okay. That's seriously okay. Like I meet people where they're at. You guys meet me where I'm at. I'm not the most successful guy. I don't know if I'm the guy that would have been 5 to 10, but I'll darn well tell you, at least I'll be the guy that takes 2 to 4, but I'm not going to be the guy that sticks his head in the sand, buries my talent and puts it in the ground, right? I'm going to applaud the guy that takes 5 and turns it into 10. You know what I'm saying? I heard a guy say once that, heroes and character, right? Like a fighter. He said, character isn't forged in the ring. It's only recognized there. Right. So when you see some guy, MMA and UFC and all this stuff, I enjoy watching that stuff when I get a chance, which is like once a year. But I watched the Floyd Mayweather versus McGregor fight, whatever. Talk about just, stealing a bag. like $100 million payout, 40, 50, $80 million payout, whatever the guy's got, right? Like, good for them. Like, that was a lot of fun to watch. But these guys didn't like all of a sudden become super fit in the last 2 weeks. They didn't all of a sudden become super fighters. They didn't all of a sudden learn how to, push through their cardio and gas out at 4, 5, 8 rounds, whatever it was, right? Like, these guys had been training. These guys have been kicking butt. These guys have been forging their character. These guys have been forging their discipline, their prudence, their health, their fitness, their mindset, their stamina, right? Like, they didn't get paid $80 million or $50 million to the stupid fight in the ring. They were getting paid $80 million when they were in the gym. They had to forge all that in the gym. They had to forge all that way before they got under the lights and in front of the lights and in front of the cameras, and their name was in the lights and their name was in the stars, and they got their name on certain, stupid stuff. Right? And everybody's chasing the end. Like, everybody wants to have, nobody wants to do, very few people want to be. And that's what I want to talk about, and that's where I'm going to butt it up. On Monday, I talked about being intentionally uncomfortable. And, dude, we're just ripping it from the frame, and we're all getting uncomfortable, getting out of our comfort zones. We're trying to learn things, go to places. Like, I went to the MGIA Snow Show. I did not want to be there, I'll be honest with you. But I'm like, dude, this event's coming up. I got an opportunity to learn. I'm so glad I went, to be honest with you. The 2 seminars that I did go to, there was only 4, but you can only do 2 at a time because they're blocked at the same, they were blocked at the same time, which was really weird. But I didn't want to go there, to be honest with you. I wanted to cut lawns, and we're going to get rained out tomorrow. I should have, pulled my lawns ahead. You guys know what I'm saying. But I'm like, dude, I don't want to go, which means I need to go. I mean, for real, like, when something's a hard decision to do, that means I need to do it. When I don't want to do something, dang it, that means I need to do it. When I don't want to do a quote, it means I need to go do it. Because that's how Liz and I are like, we'll do the hard thing. We will always choose to do the hard thing. We talk about that all the time. That is like a core value in our family. We eat the frog. We do the hard thing, right? If we don't want to do it, that means we need to do it even more. And that's a tough way to make decisions in life. But here's the deal. To go full circle, when you do that, that character is forged. You are building yourself up. You're girding yourself up. You're learning. You're studying. You're becoming a better businessman, better entrepreneur. And the blessings in the beginning, they might come a lot slower. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, right? It might take some time for that momentum to build in your life, for you to be an entrusted person, a trustworthy person, somebody that is diligent and prudent, somebody that whether you believe it or not, right, that you can receive that blessing and you can be blessed to be a blessing to somebody else. Right? So many people out there, for example, have that clenched fist about their life, their money, their finances, their business, their attitude, their heart, their what I know about business, and they have their hands clenched on that $20 bill. And guess what? It's really hard. Whatever you believe in, I don't care if you believe in God, Jesus, or I don't care if you believe in a plant or Mother Gaia, okay, or whatever. It's going to be really hard for whatever you believe in to put 20 more bucks in your hand, and it's not even about the money. It's just about blessing you when you have that clenched fist, right? But if you have that open hand, that open fist, that open hand, and you're able to have money put into your hand and money go out, and you can be a conduit, right? You can be a steward. You guys have heard me talk about that on a podcast. I slip that in there all the time. Liz and I, we don't feel like we own any of this. We're just good stewards. I mean, you really get to talk to me. This is like the important stuff. This is the stuff that I always say. I take about 1 or 2, 3 things really serious. The other like 98 out of 100 things, we just kind of chuckle along the way. We don't take anything overly serious. I'll take eternal life as serious. I'll take taking care of my family pretty serious and my freedoms in this country pretty serious. After that, it's a lot of noise. And I say that with love. I mean, like the company, it's noise. It could be here today, gone tomorrow, right? These are the things that I wanted to just talk about for just a quick minute, just to wrap it all up. I wanted to be a trustworthy person, somebody that I'm just going to talk about my experience, that God could say, look, this guy's not getting full of himself. This guy's not got a crazy ego. He's still humble enough. He's still steerable. He's still somebody that I could use, right? He's still somebody that I can entrust with. You guys want more lawn care clients, but you're on the back end, like cheating the books. How's God going to bless that? Right? I mean, got to check to somebody out there. Right. I'm talking to you. Right? Somebody else is out there like you're skimming off your employees. You're rounding down instead of rounding up. What? Or you don't even pay for the exact hours, but you round down instead of even rounding up. And you're like, man, I'm not paying my guys for a lunch for them. They need to work harder. They don't even get their freaking work done as it is. Why don't you try just being a giver for once? not to get taken advantage of, you know what I'm saying, but try to be a blessing, be a giver, right? And that character is not forged in the ring. It's merely recognized there, right? And so behind the scenes, who are you? What are you doing? What are you trying to be, right? Nobody saw me read 1,000 self-help books the last 15 years behind the scenes for real. I can show you them. We're building a library in my office so I can finally proudly present my books and just have them on my bookshelf. Every one of them are earmarked. Every one of them are highlighted. Every one have been read 4 or 5 different times. How to Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, Master Key to Riches, Richest Man in Babylon. I mean, dude, everything. And I'm still reading. I'm still devouring audiobooks, right? But I wasn't doing it for anybody, externally 10, 15 years later. I wasn't trying to like impress people. Hey, look, I read a book. Hey, nobody knows. Nobody's doing an audit. That's like the interesting thing about being self-employed. There's like literally zero accountability other than maybe your taxes. For real. I mean, maybe your wife. I don't know about you guys, but maybe your wife. But when you're self-employed, nobody's telling you to go. Nobody's demanding that you do. Nobody's demanding that you do more of or less of. I mean, it's just whatever happens, happens, right? And it's like, man, you got to be disciplined. You got to kick yourself in the butt. If it's raining, doesn't mean you get to go take a nap, although I like taking naps. It means you got to go perform and do something else and get creative and keep the needle moving forward, right? So I just wanted to be a good steward. I wanted to be a person that when God's looking down, he's like, you know what? Who do I want to give some more lawn care customers to? Who do I want to financially bless? Who do I want to give some subscribers to? And I don't know if this works this way, okay? That's just how I believe, okay? Like you believe your way. But I'm just like, yo, I just want God to know that, hey, if he's scouring around the planet, looking around for somebody who's just being faithful or more faithful, because I'm not the best, okay? Like I said, I'm a sinner. I'm flawed. I have my mistakes. I swear I do stupid stuff. I make mistakes, probably like a lot of you guys. I'm open. I admit it. But at least I'm trying. At least my heart is right. At least I can be somebody that behind the scenes, I'm reading self-help books and not looking at stupid stuff on the internet. I could be blessing my guys instead of robbing from my guys. I could be doing honorable work as a subcontractor or with my subcontractors, right? When I go to make the 3-point shot in the bathroom and it hits the rim and the paper towel falls on the floor, I can go back and pick it up, right? When I'm on the phone with my accountant and they're like, hey, what about this expense? And look, got a little AMA, ask my accountant, what is this? You can be like, you know what? I used the wrong credit card. That's a personal, not a business expense, right? And you're like, well, man, I just can't seem to make any headwind. Like I'm not getting promoted or blessed or people aren't helping me or this isn't coming. I'm not getting the breaks that other people even are. Why? Well, 2 things. 1, you might be in a different season. Okay. There's different seasons, for different things, right? It's not always growing season. Sometimes it's pruning season. Okay. But another thing too, is that other people getting promoted doesn't mean you don't get promoted. It's not how it works, right? Like I always say, like if you take your candle and you light somebody else's candle, your candle doesn't go out. Right. So maybe that person's being blessed, right? The sun doesn't always shine on the same whatever every time, or whatever the saying is. So maybe you're on deck. Maybe you're up next. Maybe you're at bat. I saw an Instagram meme. It was really good. Some of you guys might have also saw it too. It said, until my time where I'm like whatever in the limelight, I will clap for others that are. Right. So if you're behind the scenes and somebody else is getting promoted and they're getting the audit boys and they're getting the claps and they're getting the customers and they're getting the finances and your family members, your brother, your sister-in-law, your sister and brother-in-law, your whatever, and they're getting rewarded and you're over here, meh. You have the sour attitude. You're spraying weed killer on your words, right? You're like, nah, this sucks. We never get the financial blessing. We never get to make money. We never get a big account. We never get financial blessing. We never get a tax refund. We never get an insurance check. Blah, 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 blah. And you're just weed killer all over your harvest, all over your seed. Like that's not doing anything for anybody. Like, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I'm like, you know what? Even if you don't believe it, it just sounds like a good thing. Even if you don't, it just sounds like a good thing. I'm not getting preachy. I'm just saying like, I came from like not a Christian background, not anything like that. I heard so much stuff and I'm like watching some things online. I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm watching other things. I don't know about that. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, that does make sense. Life and death in the power of the tongue. If I say things and I have a good day and I repeat things and I listen to good music and I'm listening to Lauren Daigle and I feel pumped up and I'm having a good time, it seems like a fulfilling feedback loop of positivity. And I'm listening to this other rapper and I'm like, just saying the stupidest things and repeating the dumbest things. And I'm like, I've been saying garbage all day. No wonder my attitude sucks by about noon. I've just been putting toxic sludge in and repeating toxic sludge out. Maybe I should turn this off and put on some podcasts. Maybe I should turn this off and put on some Robert Kiyosaki and talk about something else. Amen. All right. So I'm going to leave it. The parable of the talents, parable of the sower. I'm not a Bible, thumper. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm just a regular dude. I'm a Christian. I'm a flawed man. But I'll tell you guys what, I'm not so thick-headed to where when I read something, I go, you know what? Probably should heed this, learn it, study it, apply it. Just my opinion. And I'm not saying if you do this, you're going to get millions of dollars. Like, let's not go from one ditch to the other. Although, try it. Be a giver. See what happens. Sometimes the stories kind of do get out there of like what I do for other people or who we bless and where it goes and what it is. And I'm not asking for any attaboys from those people. I'm not asking for anybody to be impressed by what we do or don't do, right? Like I don't want praise from man. Definitely not. I want my blessing to come from my Heavenly Father. That's how I figure. Now, if the word gets out a little bit and a little of this, a little of that, like it's all in good-hearted spirit, right? But at the same point, like you got to start like kind of connecting some dots in life too. I'm just going to call a spade, right? Like if somebody gives money and they get blessed, you're like, maybe there's something to that. If somebody sows something and they reap a harvest, a multiple of something, you got to go, And then other people, they're like, well, he gets the brand deals and he gets free equipment and he gets a lawnmower. Do you know how many lawnmowers I've given away on our channel? By the way, how many lawnmowers have you given away? Right? Well, he gets the money, he gets the brand deals, he gets new customers and he gets this. Yeah, well, do you know how many customers I give away? I turn down 50 to 100 grand a year easily in referral work to all of the guys that are around me. And I'm not a hero. You guys do the same too. I'm just saying, I give accounts all the time, all the way to people, good accounts to good people. They're just not in my area, right? So I'm sowing, I'm giving, I'm sowing, I'm giving. I'm trying to be a conduit, capture this, this funnel of water here and, hose, give it out to somebody else, conduit, feed it out to somebody else, feed a pipe over to somebody else with some water, some blessing, right? Give away, money for camera gear or buy people stuff or, sponsor things that you guys don't even know behind the scenes. And it comes back and it comes back and it comes back. I'm like, I like being a giver. Okay. But more importantly, I love working on myself behind the scenes, and I'm not like self-edifying or self-promoting. I'm just telling you guys, I'm just literally trying to talk to the Brian Fullerton even of 10, 15 years ago. And I'm like, what would he need? What was he thinking? He was a selfish dude with a low self-image that didn't think he was of much value to many people. And I'm not saying that's you guys listening. I'm just saying that was me. What changed? I realized that I am a valuable person. I realized that I'm blessed to be a blessing. I realized that God did put a value on me and my soul. I realized that he does love me and he doesn't make junk and you guys aren't junk and he didn't make junk out of you. He made me for a time like this to do a certain thing, right? I'm blessed to be a blessing. The more I get, the more I give. The more I give, the more I get. And I'm in this incredible perpetual feedback loop of getting and getting, blessing and increase, giving, getting, blessing, increase, giving, getting, blessing, increase. And I mean, literally, I've documented this on YouTube. I don't even know the way to say it. It works. That's all I got for today, okay? I want to talk about that because just some interesting financial things going on in my family, just like your family probably, and life and business and this and that. And I'm like, it's so blatantly obvious when you're out of the woods and you can see the forest. How do other people not see what's happening? And then Liz goes, because some people have scales over their eyes and over their ears. They don't have ears to hear, or ears to hear, ears to see and eyes to hear. God, I got that wrong twice, right? Ears to hear and eyes to see. And I'm like, what? One more time? And she goes, they don't have ears to hear and eyes to see. And I'm like, when you're right, you're right. And Liz just always has the right thing to say at the right time. And she gets it. And she's like the peaceful, calm one. But I just got all worked up in a fuss. And I'm like, how do people not see what's happening? And this, and this. And this is why they need to do this. And this is why they aren't getting that. And this is why this. And she's like, dude, she goes, parable of the talents. I'm like, what? And so we started talking about the parable of the talents. I'm like, you know what? That's the Wednesday episode, all right? hopefully you guys enjoy this. Give me some latitude. If you're not a Christian, that's fine. Don't be a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, go accept Jesus into your life and, pray with your mouth and hear with your ears and accept them, okay? Many good things. There's your altar call, right? I don't know why church is 2 hours on a Sunday. It could be like 15 minutes. We can go out to get some breakfast, amen? All right, so anyway, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. This is our Wednesday episode. Super excited about the rest of the week. We got Jeremiah Jennings with Growing Green Landscapes. He's coming out on Friday. He's going to be talking about his life, his business, his success, and also his failures, more importantly, which is... The reason it's more importantly is because they're usually fun stories. He's had some crazy things happen the last couple of weeks, couple of months, last year and a half. Jeremiah Jennings' Growing Green Landscape podcast. It's a smaller podcast for sure, but it won't be forever. He's got a lot of great things going on. He's a butt kicker. He's committed to it. He's got 20, 30 episodes now already under his belt. Things are going really, really good over there. Check it out. Support it. Maybe you guys might like it. Give you a different, fresh perspective. He's going to be back here on Friday. And then, as always, we'll be back here the following Monday, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every week without fail with the podcast, Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast, right? Hey, really quick, as we button this up, thank you guys for the ratings. Thank you guys for the reviews. Maybe you're newer to the show. Can you leave us a 5-star? Can you guys just look, like, as you scroll down on your phone, you're going to pick the next track, go to the Kid Contractor Podcast, go to, Paul Jameson with the Green Industry Podcast, so on and so forth, or go back and listen to the last 240 episodes that we got, because we got a lot of good stuff in the library. But hey, really quick, if you can just hit 5 stars as you scroll down, hit a little review, hit the purple, little arrow there, write a review, leave us 3 or 4 sentences, give me some feedback. You know what I'm saying? You guys don't get a microphone. Your microphone is the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I absolutely read every single one. I get them on my phone. I get a weekly update from Apple iTunes, and it lets me know how much you guys are appreciating the show. 5 stars. It really helps the algorithm. My goal is to get to 1,000 ratings, reviews, just to provide some social proof on this thing. And guys, the bigger the show gets, the bigger it gets us the opportunity to potentially reach out to bigger guests. I got a couple people I'm trying to work with behind the scenes, some big YouTuber people, and it'd be really cool to get them on the show. But we need some clout, right? I mean, that's how I guess it works. Help us with the podcast. Help us with the ratings, reviews. If you guys get it bigger, I absolutely reciprocate with trying to reach out to other people and just be that conduit, man. Let's keep that open hand, and blessings flow in and blessings can flow out, and we can all rise together, right? As my friend Paul Jameson says, rising water raises all boats. I think is what he says. So any which way. Appreciate you guys big time. Thanks for letting me nerd out with you for just a few minutes and get a little preachy on you today. Once in a while, isn't that bad, right? Once in a while getting a little preachy. I think that's okay. All right, guys, over and out. We'll catch you guys here on the next one.
When productivity matters, Billy Goat's one and done 30-inch and 25-inch plugger reciprocating aerators deliver. You have a tight window of time to complete your aeration services before the leaves start flying and fall cleanups get underway. So get to it with hydro drive, self-propelled, variable speed, in-ground turning, and the unmatched maneuverability of a Billy Goat reciprocating aerator. Eliminate double aerating and do patch repair and seedbed prep on the fly, saving time and maximizing your productivity. Complete a quarter acre in as little as 15 minutes with the 30-inch and up to just under 43,000 square feet per hour with the 25-inch. Get in more jobs per day and do them with one pass, one machine, a one-man crew, and aerate one time without callbacks. See your local lawn and garden dealer and ask about the 150-day deferred, 0 down, 0% or low interest financing up to 4 years.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.